on NFL Primetime Wildcard style. The two-time defending champs handling their business in Foxborough. Brady and the boys begin their title defense against some always tough Jacksonville Jags. Defense, son, the name of the game between the Redskins and Bucs down in Tampa. Who's going to survive this close call? And we're going to take a look ahead to Sunday's matchups. Panthers, Giants, Steelers, Bengals. It's about to be on, all coming up on a wildcard edition of NFL Primetime.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time.
Much respect while Chris Berman and Tom Jackson got the ABC New York duty. Primetime on this show is a double S kind of thing. Stuart Scott, Sean Salisbury, always handling our business. What's more impressive to you? Tom Brady being 9-0 in the postseason, or Tom Brady throwing 304 passes in the postseason and only 3 interceptions?
I'm going to go with 9-0 on his way to 10-0 in the postseason, although it's tough to choose. Regardless, both of them are great. I think he's the most poised quarterback we've had since Montana, if not more.
Ooh, if not more.
If not more.
Plus,
he's hot.
He's hot.
To the 12th power.
To the 12th
There goes
degree.
the jersey number.
Jags and Patriots. Teddy Bruschi dressed after sustaining a calf injury. Patriots have won 9 straight playoff games. Tom Brady, Daniel Graham getting ready along with Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel. First quarter, 1st and 10. Screen to Ben Watson, who is just straight up jacked up.
You've got mail.
John Henderson weighs how much?
Three. He's a biscuit away from 350.
I'm telling you, later in the drive, wide open, Watson drops Brady. See, that's what happened when you get busted up by a brother from 350. Not always.
Even the 200-pounders look 350 then.
Patriots set up for the field goal, but Adam Vinatieri breaks out the okey doke on him.
I like that. SC could have used that in the national title game.
It was cold. Ball wasn't traveling far. Patriots pinned Jacksonville down at the 4.
What a shock. Vinatieri did something good again.
Guy's going to go to the Hall of Fame as a kicker. 3rd and 7 from the 27. Brady scrambles, eventually sacked by Mike Peterson. Take another look. What happened, Sean?
Now, you know, Brady's not the most fleet-of-foot guy, but in the pocket, as much presence as there is. But that's a great coverage sack. Tom a little frustrated, and they're covered. Looking down the field. Who are you going to throw it to? You don't want to throw an interception, and I'll take a sack anytime as long as the guy's not going to throw an interception down there and turn the ball over. Brady did the right thing everywhere you look, Stu. Watson, Branch,
White
they're all
Rice,
covered.
black on coal,
there
flies on you know what. Second quarter, Kevin Falk doing work, runs left, huge hole, 18-yard gain. 3 plays later, 3rd and 6 from the 11. Troy Brown's been around a long time. Dude hadn't had a postseason touchdown catch since '97. Get at me.
There's that poise again. Brady pump fake, stays alive, makes the throw, Stu.
Pats up 7-zip. Byron Leftwich, first start since November 27th, had that cracked bone in his left ankle. Late second quarter, 2nd and 11 from the 25. We don't call him Jimmy Smith. We call him Jimmy what? Smith.
But have a look at the he's got Hall of Fame numbers, Stu. He continues to be their guy.
Next play, Leftwich to Ernest Wolford, 17 yards to the 47. 3 plays later to the former quarterback at Arkansas, Matt Jones, 9 yards to the 36-yard line. 3 plays later,
Leftwich on a roll right now, isn't he, Stu?
He's like butter to Reggie Williams, and he's looking to anybody and everybody spreading the wealth. That led to a field goal. Jags down 7-3. Last seconds of the first, 2nd and 14. Brady goes deep to the Super Bowl MVP, Deion Branch. But see what happened?
You better enjoy this because you won't see the drop very often. Deion will always pull that in.
Patriots up 7-3 at recess. 3rd quarter, 2nd and 10. Direct snap to Falk. Hands off to Andre Davis for a 13-yard gain. 2 plays later, Brady completes to Watson. I think he's still getting over that big hit he took.
He thinks that's the big fella. At least he fumbled it forward. We got a little roller, and guess who's on it? Another guy, Andre Davis. Seems like everybody steps up when it's the Patriots.
17-yard gain, just how they drew it up. 1st and goal. Brady to David Givens. Givens' 6th straight playoff game with a touchdown catch. That 2nd all-time. Pats up 14-3. Then Brady to Watson. Finally.
Watson says, I'm tired of getting hit by 300-pounders. Longest. I'll do it myself. I'm irritated.
Longest pass play in Patriots postseason history. 63 yards to the... We call him Hissy. Mike Peterson cast on his right hand. Can't wrap up Watson.
Watson is beastly.
Watson.
You got a body like an army.
Come in here. I need you. Patriots up 21-3. Late third, Willie McGinnis sacks Leftwich for a 5-yard loss. Willie McGinnis sacks Leftwich. That would be a story of the gazame. First play of the
Story
fourth
of the
quarter.
postseason history for Willie McGinnis.
Exactly. 4th and 5 from the 32. Somebody's drinking their haterade. Asante Samuel picks off Leftwich as cool as the other side of the pillow. Second longest interception return in Patriots playoff history. Late fourth quarter. What do you think when you see big Willie McGinnis coming at you?
It's the postseason. Get down.
McGinnis, 4.5 sacks, an NFL postseason record since they started keeping sacks as a record. For his career now, 16 sacks. That, too, is an NFL record since they started keeping postseason sack records. He passes Bruce Smith as the Patriots just beat down the Jags 28-3. The Patriots set an NFL record with their 10th straight playoff win. Tom Brady, not only is he hot, fine, whatever, ladies, he's also 10-0 in the playoffs. But the story was the defense and Willie McGinnis, who ran up to Michelle Tafoya after the game and said, Michelle, you got to interview me because, you know, I broke records.
4.5 sacks. That's a single-game postseason record. It looked like you were having a lot of fun. What was going on out there?
We had a good time. I mean, God is good. And we just came out here. We wanted to work hard. We played against a really good team. We respected them the whole way through. We just wanted to come out. We worked really hard this week. We prepared. We knew it was going to be a good game, a tough game, a physical game, and it just fell in our favor tonight.
I know this isn't a team that pays attention to stats, but 16 postseason sacks now. You just passed Bruce Smith on the all-time record. What does that mean to you?
Well, in the company of guys like Bruce Smith and Reggie White, it's definitely a compliment because those guys are great players. I'm just humbled to be in the same category with those guys.
You guys still are chasing the ultimate, a 3rd straight Super Bowl. You get past this test. What does this defense and this team do now as you prepare for next week?
Just one game at a time. We're not worried about the Super Bowl. We're not worried about the AFC Championship. We're just going to wait to see who we play. We're going to prepare hard and get ready to go.
God, boy, is he a big-time player in postseason.
Big-time player and just all-around great dude as well. Teddy Bruschi dressed, but he did not play. Now, you look at this Patriots team. It was exactly 2 months ago, on November 7th, that the Colts just took care of them in New England. This is a team that didn't win consecutive games until week 11. What changed from struggling New England to dominant New England again?
There's a couple things that stick out to me. First of all, Stu, when you're going through the frustration of win one, lose one, and all the injuries that they had, is that it's easy to quit or go into the tank and feel sorry for yourself. They've never done that. And the injuries, they've overcome them and become healthy. And when you've got a dominant front seven, guys like Roosevelt, Colvin, and Bruschi, they've done everything they can to make a secondary that's been maligned, Stu. But when you got a great front seven that pressures, that can put teams in 3rd long and 2nd long situations, then the secondary can do some different things and adjust. I think the adjustments they made, and in tonight's game, they were dominant. They played great football in the secondary, but it's all predicated on a front seven that pressures, wins on 1st down, forces an offense to be in long yardage situation. I promise you, Stu, the Colts, the Broncos, whoever gets them next, and the Steelers and the Bengals who are still alive in the playoffs until tomorrow, you're sitting there wondering, I don't know if I want those guys, whether we play them in the parking lot, Foxborough, or somewhere else. This team is for real. They know how to win in the postseason. It becomes habitual.
And don't give them dudes a lead at the halftime.
Oh, no. If they give them a lead at halftime, you might as well pack it up and head yourself home.
Their last 43 games, regular season, postseason, the Patriots are 42-1 when they have a lead at halftime. We're going to talk mucho more about this game later on in NFL Primetime. Also, coming up, we go to the NFC where the Redskins and Bucks talked about some defense. Defense was dominant, but you won't believe how this game ended.
Presented by Miller. There's good enough, and there's better than it has to be. Miller. Good call.
Redskins and Bucks. Redskins closed the season. They had a sign in their locker, said 5 in a row where we don't go. They won 5 in a row and made it in. John Gruden 5-2 in his career in the postseason. Chris Sims' first career playoff start, first quarter. My bad. Tipped at the line. His pass is LeVar Arrington schooling kids. Returns it to the 6. Redskins in business. They had 3 takeaways. 1st and goal now. Sean, where's Clinton Portis from?
The U.
Oh, so he went to the U.
Yes.
He also went to the house. 6-yard touchdown run. Clinton ended those 5 games with 100 yards in each of them. Didn't get 100 here, only 53, but a touchdown. Redskins up 7-zip. Later first, Cadillac Williams runs up the middle, and he got popped. Marcus Washington picks it up, fumbled, and then Sean Taylor grabbed. Wait a second, where's Sean Taylor?
I believe he's from the U.
The U. 50 51-yard fumble return for Taylor. Skins had only 11 takeaways the first 11 games. They had 17 the last 5 when they went 5-0. They're up 14-0. Later in the first, Bucks punting. Antoine Brown back to return, gets drilled by Torrey Cox. Whoa, yo, what do you say to a coach about this?
Don't make me return punts.
We just wanted y'all to hear what it spelled like. Third quarter, Bucks down 17-3. Redskins punting. Mark Jones, who's in the house with the Jam Posse, on the return, reverses field, actually run out of bounds by the punter. Sean, what do you tell the boys in the locker room when the punter tackles?
You say you got to go to the restroom during film session. You're not there watching it.
But the punter, Derek Frost, injured on the play. Remember that. Ensuing Bucks drive, Sims underneath to Michael Pittman over the middle. Sims, 25 of 38. That gained 23. Later in the drive, halves up. Oh, Pittman. I mean, I ain't saying nothing, but brother looks good. And Phil Sims, little boy, looked good. First career rushing touchdown. Sean, how did it work?
Well, when you run it inside pretty effectively in the short yardage, a little play-action fake, and that was better than the one you're going to see a little later on. Benning getting out in front of him, Sims making the great effort to get in, then makes a good heave up into the stands with the football.
Later in the third and 9 for the Bucks. Sims flushed out of the pocket, scrambles. He's going to slide well short of the first down, flagging the play unsportsmanlike conduct. Now look at what happened. Sean, jawing is one thing.
That's Bush League. You just don't do it. You don't spit in somebody's face like Sean Taylor did. I don't care what you say. Pittman probably should have hit him a little harder after that one.
Pittman said if we had been in the streets, it would have been worse than that. The referees did not flag Pittman for hitting him. They flagged Sean and threw him out of the game. Fourth quarter, Mike Allstott. Mike Allstott
can't get your big fella to go vertical on him. Keep him down low.
That was 3rd and 1. Bucks going forward on 4th down. Play action to Allstott. Under pressure, incomplete. Bucks turn it over on downs. Sean, why didn't it work?
Remember what I told you about the earlier play action? You got to sell it. Don't sell it. Too many people standing up. I'm going to show you this in a little while, why it didn't work even better. Sims throws the incompletion on 4th down.
Later in the 4th, 3rd and 3 for the Redskins. Brunell rolls out. His pass.
No. Don't do this.
No.
Don't do this.
My bad. Intercepted by Brian Kelly. Great pick. Brunell only 41 yards passing. Bucks have the ball. Good field position. 3rd and 10. Sims deep to Edel Shepard. Holla at your boy. Remember, he had that touchdown catch in week 10 before the 2-point conversion that won it. Has a touchdown catch here? No. Referees call incomplete. Sean, what do you think?
That was like shooting fish in a barrel with that. Well, that's the best non-touchdown celebration ever. It was an incomplete pass. Great throw by Sims. Look at the effort by Carlos Rogers to try and get a hand in there. Doesn't allow Shepard to close his arms. Ball's on the ground. Definitely the right call. Have a listen.
Check out Mike Carey on the call.
The receiver, in the process of making a catch, was going to the ground. Independent of his knee hitting, if the ball comes loose upon contact to the ground, by rule, incomplete.
That's like an SAT.
That's a great description by Mike Carey. Nice job and effort by Carlos Rogers not to quit on the play. Too bad for Shepard on that one.
Now that made it 4th down. Sims looking deep again. He's going to have Shepard open. Sean, why can't he complete this pass?
A little less there, Stu. If he throws a drive shot, that's a touchdown because he had him beat up in the hole, and Chris knows that he made a bunch of good throws on the night.
Redskins take over on downs. Remember Frost? He was injured a little bit. Maybe that had something to do with the 14-yard punt.
I like to call him Weird Al Shankovic.
14
that was horrible.
Yards? Great field position for the Bucks. 1st and 10, and Sims throws an interception to Marcus Washington.
Ball tipped too, Stu. Second time for an interception.
Bucks had the ball 34 minutes, 29 seconds, and they lose to a Redskins team that had, get this, 120 yards total offense. 120. The lowest amount of total yards ever for a team that wins a playoff game. Bucks won everything. They won total yards. They won time possession. They lost the game afterwards. John Gruden talking about the tough call and the tough day.
Whatever rules exist, they're going to determine whether or not it's a catch. And it's just a sad situation if you're John Gruden right now.
I saw the ball rolling around there, but on that one, you really just say a prayer and hope it goes your way.
He was open. He did have his hands on the ball, and he was in the end zone. And unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Sitting there at 5 and 6. The odds of winning 5 straight up here are really go against you. And to be able to win 6 straight, I don't know, I'm just really proud of our guys at this point.
To get a win is huge. You're on the road, you're in the playoffs against a very good defense. You know, we will take it, absolutely.
Mark Brunell's like, I'll take it.
So.
Even if I only have 41 more yards passing than Sean. Sean didn't even play. The Redskins...
I still would have thrown for 41. I'd thrown about 30.
They only had 25 yards, that's total yards for the team through the air. Only 2 NFL teams have ever won a playoff game with fewer passing yards. It don't matter how it looks, though. A win is a win. So, Chris Sims joined his dad, and they joined Jack and Jeff Kemp as the only father-son duos to ever start a playoff game. What did you think of the kid in his first
I thought he showed tremendous poise, Stu. I did. I think that he's going to be a star in this league because he's taken it. People wondered if he was tough. Well, he's proven he's not only physically tough but mentally tough. But he didn't get a lot of help from his friends offensively tonight. And here's what happens. Washington, what a great game plan by Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, to pressure. But here's just a zone. 4-man rush, but 3 guys dominate. Now, who's going to make that play? I don't care if you're even Vincent Young. From Texas, you're not getting out of that one. And then a good disguise on the blitz. Omar Stoutmire coming from a distance. 3 guys on 1 on the left side. Nobody blocks Stoutmire. By the time Chris sees him, it's too late. He would have liked to throw that ball away instead of take the sack. 4th and 1. Remember we talked earlier, Stu, about how play action works? Peyton Manning, who's the master at it. Have a look at the difference here. Doesn't flag the ball all the way into Allstott's gut. Allstott standing up. Nobody's buying that it's not a pass. And then you got a tight end, a receiver, and a lineman standing straight up. Those are linebacker and defensive backs' keys. Everybody's got their man covered. Marcus Washington unblocked. Chris Sims has no chance trying to make a play. 4th down. One of the key plays of the game in this too. Now people are going to get on Adele Shepard for the drop, and I understand. But underrated here is watch Carlos Rogers' right hand, Stu, come in right now. That's a great effort for a guy who got beat. Does he get ball? Does he get elbow? Regardless, he made it uncomfortable for Shepard to close his arms and finish. And I promise you, when Joe Gibbs and Greg Williams, the coordinator, watch that film and the players, they might as well stand up and cheer because the guy finished the play, and the Redskins have been doing that to 6 straight wins in a row.
And then the Redskins might just turn around and cheer Joe Gibbs, his 17th career postseason win. Only 2 guys, Don Shula and Tom Landry, have more. Still ahead on NFL Primetime, we're going to ask Sean, if you are Bill Belichick, would you rather play the Broncos or the Colts? We'll talk about the Patriots' future.
Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. With Visa's multiple layers of security, you're covered. Presented by Miller Lite.
One more look, Patriots and Jaguars, 4th quarter, 21-3 New England, 4th and 5 for Jacksonville, and Byron Leftwich hits Asante Samuel, but that was a problem, see, because the weirdest thing, Asante wears a different color jersey, which would make that an interception.
Yes.
28-3 Patriots after the PTA. Later in the 4th, Leftwich sacked by Willie McGinnis. Willie Mack had 4.5 sacks. Poet, I know it. Patriots win it 28-3. Tom Brady, why do you guys keep winning in the postseason?
I think playing at home's been a great advantage. I think great coaching. We always seem like we're in a good position. We always feel like we have a great plan. We never leave any stone unturned. And Coach Belichick's always thinking, some great assistant coaches over the years. And guys who just have been performing well under pressure. Guys like Troy Brown and Willie McGinnis. I mean, 4.5 sacks tonight's pretty unbelievable. Vrabel, Teddy Bruschi, even though he wasn't out there tonight. Just some pressure players who have played really well.
We're not giving up big plays. We're getting off the field on 3rd down, and we're stopping the run. Most important. You can't win any games if you don't stop the run. I think we've been doing a better job at stopping the run, and it's allowing us to do other things. Our offense is scoring points. We're not giving up points. And anytime you can make a team one-dimensional, it just makes your game plan a lot easier.
All right.
All those things Brady mentioned. The one thing I wish Tom would said, no, by the way, I'm pretty good.
I'm, led the league in passing yardage this year.
I think I'm okay.
Because I'm Tom Brady.
Yeah.
If Pittsburgh beats the Bengals, then the Patriots will go to Denver.
Right.
If the Bengals win, the Patriots go to Indy. How does New England match up with both teams?
Well, I think that New England, obviously every team matches up better against somebody other than the Colts because of all the weapons the Colts have. But I think this is the one team, meaning the Patriots, because of the different schemes and the coaching staff that matches up against anybody. I'll be honest with you, I don't believe they care where they go. I have a hunch they're on their way to Denver. And in that game, Stu, to me, what you got to do, you heard Willie McGinnis mention one-dimensional. You got to make Jake Plummer mentally, because he's had a great season, think that he has to beat you. So be a fast start, make Jake try to make the plays from behind. And if they go to Indy, just call up Sean Merriman, ask if you can borrow him, and get the same plan the San Diego Chargers had, and put it on Indy that way, because either team.
Can they do that in football?
You know
borrow
what,
a guy from another team?
Can you make a trade during the playoffs? It'd be nice to I think New England's 4 linebackers are pretty good themselves. They match up well against both teams because they are the champs.
Well, I tell you what, the Washington Redskins, they had some pretty good linebackers doing some work as well. Against another linebacker-heavy team, Redskins and Seahawks in Week 4 earlier this season. Shaun Alexander led the league in rushing, MVP, 34-yard run. Moments later, remember, this was back in Week 4, 2nd and goal. Alexander gets in from the 5. I think he did that 28 times this year, if I'm not mistaken. 14-10 Skins. But in overtime, Nick Novak, 39-yard field goal. Redskins beat the Seahawks 20-17 earlier in this season. So we know the Redskins now have to go to Seattle and play them in the postseason. What can they do?
Well, I think it's very simple, Stu. If they get 120 yards, like they did against Tampa Bay, they got no shot.
It ain't happening.
They got no shot. And if this game starts to creep in the high-scoring upper 20s, close to 30, you know Seattle's in their game plan. They want to score. Shaun Alexander, obviously, you got to take him out. That's a no-brainer. Everybody knows that. But the offense has got to produce. The defense carried him throughout the game on Tampa. You got to get some offensive touchdowns. And if the defense plays like they did against Tampa, now you're in it. If the offense will give me just 17 points and let the defense play, they'll be in the game the whole way. If it's an offensive shootout, Redskins need to go home. They will not win that game.
That game is Saturday at 4:30. On this day, on Saturday, Joe Gibbs' first playoff win since 1992. When we come back, we're going to check out the games that go down on Sunday. The Carolina Panthers going to the Big Apple to try and do some damage. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. We're in the same division. We're about to rock, y'all.
Presented by Miller. There's good enough, and there's better than it has to be. Miller. Good call.
Sunday's playoff games, the Panthers at Giants Stadium. Jake Delhomme against Eli Manning. Eli's first career playoff start. How do you see that one going down?
I think the guy is so calm and collected, and I like the Panthers, and I'll tell you why in just a second, but I'm going with the Panthers to win this game.
All right, Steelers at Bengals. That's at 4:30.
Let's get to that one. Here it is. Steelers, 40-plus carries. Look at the stats. They do that, they win the game. And in that Panthers game, control Tiki Barber and attack the Giants linebackers because they're a depleted staff. I like Pittsburgh, and I like Carolina to move on.
All right, me and Sean are going to hop up out these seats. NFL Primetime Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Boom's here. TJ is there. We'll see you.
Coming up on Wild Card NFL Primetime, catastrophic turn of events right from the start in Cincinnati. Did things get even worse after Carson Palmer went down for the Bengals against the Steelers? The Panthers on the attack all day long against the G-Men. Why it turned into a 20-year playoff worse for the Big Blue. And next week's games are set. Who has the early edge right now and why? We look back at some of the great and some of the not-so-great events of Wild Card Weekend.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody, with Tom Jackson, as I always am. And last year, Tommy, the wild card round of the playoffs. Wow. Hello. Four teams won. It'll never happen again.
Right. Well, that's why they play the games, as you like to say.
Deja vu all over again. And the late game on Sunday was a rematch of the rubber game. Both the Steelers and the Bengals, who won that division, the AFC North, won on the opposing team's turf. Here we go from Cincinnati with their first playoff game since 1990. And the whole city, the Queen City, revved up. Now, Pittsburgh, Joey Porter, and most notably, does this sometimes before the game, so the talking back and forth. Carson Palmer led the NFL in touchdown passes and in percentage of completions. His first playoff pass ever, 66 yards to Chris Henry. But wait a minute. Behind the play, Palmer was down. Timo von Oelhoffen, once a Bengal, rolls in, the knee hit, and once you could see even oh no. Palmer is writhing in pain. I mean, this all during his 66-yard completion. And Marvin Lewis obviously is furious. It's a late hit. John Kitna very quickly get the ball, warm up. And Mort will be by shortly to update, but knee injury bad Von Oelhoffen not pleased. Bengals dejected, but they got a game to play. And that would include John Kitna. And you figure early on Passer would sail a little bit, although in first half he played well. And here, now what's going on here, Tom?
Well, a little chippiness from the Steelers to the Bengals. I think, always wanting to prove that they're a tough football team. May have crossed the line a little bit early in this game.
Standing over him, Graham kicks a field goal, 3-0 Bengals. Then, next series, Cincinnati, Kitna. Yeah, he was tough. He came in, he'd done his homework, that's for sure, and he splits the defenders and takes a first down. Rudy Johnson, it's his job to bounce outside and very quickly breaks a tackle, beats Polamalu, 10-0 Cincy without Palmer.
Yeah, good blocking at the point of attack, and right now you felt like the Cincinnati Bengals were running on adrenaline.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger, was time for him to slow them down and get Pittsburgh moving. He has a great feel, Tom, for a big guy.
Yeah, when the rush gets on and he feels the exit lanes from the pocket.
Same drive now, second quarter. Roethlisberger will dump it to Willie Parker, and he is off to the races. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. It's now a 10-7 Cincinnati lead. But
yeah, Odell Thurman in coverage on Parker as he starts to move toward his coverage. Heath Miller going to come down the line of scrimmage, the tight end, take his cover man with him, and a little bit of a pick right there. Technically illegal, but not going to be called in the interior line. Just not going to be called in traffic.
So the Bengals now with the ball on 3rd and 11, and Kitna has time here. And Polamalu almost gets it. And then Troy gets a little out of character because as tough as he plays, this is not him. He throws the ball in the face of Rich Graham, and so there's a flag. Cincinnati had like 9 plays down there, Tom. And Bill Cowher shaking his head. You saw in Kitna. Do you say Houshmandzadeh?
I say Houshmandzadeh.
TJ, who killed him in the game the Bengals won at 17-7 earlier this year. But Roethlisberger to Hines Ward right back on 3rd and 5. It's a 17-14 game. Now we go to the third quarter. 3rd and 10 Bengals. Kitna breaking free, and Chad Johnson, quiet game for him, makes the catch though, first down. Same drive, and then, Brad St. Louis, they had a couple of bad snaps earlier. This real bad, Shane Graham has to fall on the ball, so instead of maybe a 6-point lead, it stays 17-14. And Roethlisberger says, I'll go to my speedster, Antoine Randall, but pass interference called. And so with that, it's the bus and Jerome Bettis into the end zone. Folks happy. Steeler fans happy with 5 minutes to go in the third. 21-17 Pittsburgh. Play of the game. Antoine Randall. No, the lateral back to Ben Roethlisberger. To Cedric Wilson. Touchdown. The backbreaker. Ken Wisenhunt calling the play up in the booth to the chagrin of Marvin Lewis. Wisenhunt, the offensive coordinator. Great call and a perfect execution. Since he on 3rd and 3, what didn't think it was coming.
Take a look at everything that's involved in this play. The direct snap to Randall L., who throws a perfect pass to Ben Roethlisberger, who throws a perfect pass to Wilson down the field. So you get 3 people doing something with the football, and they all did it exactly right.
Look at Hines Ward. Come on, ball. Let's go. Say to Cedric, did you feel like you were just waiting under that thing? Bengals now in the 4th. Now they're down 11. They got to make something happen. But James Farrier picks off Kitna. And then later in the quarter, after a field goal, still is a 2-touchdown game, 31-17, 2nd and long, 4.5 to go. Kitna, nice play by Troy Polamalu. And one of Bill Cowher's favorite players, and he share a moment. The Bengals share some sorrow. They'll be back. They won their division. They earned it. They scored a bunch of points. But all that was with Carson Palmer and Jerome Bettis. They will play another day. Pittsburgh moving on the playoffs to play Indianapolis. More in the matchups in a moment. 31-17, the Steelers down 10. Twice come from behind on Roethlisberger's 3 touchdown passes. After the game, plenty to talk about.
I feel very bad for Carson Palmer for what took place. It's an unfortunate accident, inadvertent, and you hate to see anybody have a season end like that.
It's over. I mean, that's devastating. Carson's got an injury. He'll be back from it, and that's the way it is. Nothing we can do. Get it back. So sit there and baby and cry like their quarterback did. It's ridiculous. Guy got hurt.
I felt terrible for him. And the only chance I got to see him was at halftime, and that's briefly because I know we're going to make adjustments. But, it almost brought me to tears going in there and seeing him. I consider him my best friend, and I felt terrible for him to have to, to go down that way.
No one expected we could win the game if we had to pass the ball. We had to come out, we had to throw the ball. Wide receivers made play, linemen gave me time, they did a great job.
So Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers moving on in the playoffs. He's had the experience. The Bengals did not. But the big news is Carson Palmer, Tom. And Chris Mortensen joins us now. Mort, very quickly, what has been learned about the knee injury suffered by Carson Palmer?
Chris, here's what our sources are telling us, that Carson Palmer does have a torn ACL and MCL in that left knee. But the doctors said the MRI showed that it was a clean tear on the ACL, perhaps thanks to the fact that he was wearing a knee brace on that left knee. That means he'll have surgery. It won't be major reconstructive surgery. The surgery will take place this week. They say he should feel pretty good in 5 months, and yes, he should be able to participate in training camp and be ready for the start of the 2006 season.
All right, well, that's great news, Mort, because ACL, MCL, it could be a lot with the sight of him. Already, one pass in his playoff career. It's already the longest pass in the postseason in Bengals history. Look, there's no way that Von Ohoffen had any intent in mind. You could see what Bill Cowher was thinking, like, oh, my goodness, nobody's pleased about it. But when you're surrounded with what we saw, stuff like Pittsburgh, no turnovers, 31 points scored on the road, you win a playoff game against a tough division foe, there's other thoughts that creep into your mind, and I don't think they're pleased with all of them, Tom. We were upset.
Well, I think certainly, the Pittsburgh Steelers are known for their toughness, a great reflection of their coach and the city that they play in. But, there's a little bit of chippiness, especially at the beginning of the games, where I think they're trying to, prove that they're a tougher football team than you are, and sometimes it appears to go a little bit overboard. And I thought that was the case today in the game against Cincinnati. Now, when you talk about the game plan, it's the game plan that certainly Bill Cowher and the Steelers wanted to have. The ability to run the ball 34 times for almost 150 yards, have those throws by Ben Roethlisberger kept to only the low 20s. I think that when you're able to do that, they're going to be successful. So their game plan worked magnificently, but certainly the biggest story today, other than the Pittsburgh Steelers advancing in the playoffs, is this loss of Carson Palmer. He's a brilliant quarterback, brilliant young quarterback. I've said he's Elway-like in terms of what the potential is. So I'm just wishing him the best and hoping that he comes back to his normal form next year.
We all are. As leader of the Bengals, they should be proud of their season, and the Steelers are moving on, and we'll talk about these matchups a little bit later in the show. But now the Steelers play the Sunday game at the Indianapolis Colts, the rematch of the Monday night game in Week 12, which Indy hammered them 26-7, but Pittsburgh a different team. They won 5 in a row. The Patriots now go into Denver, a team that in Week 6 they lost to 28-20 as Denver ran for almost 180 yards in that game. That's the AFC matchup that Saturday evening in Denver. Meanwhile, we'll be back on NFL Primetime with the Panthers and the Giants. Eli's first playoff game. Hide your heart, girl. And meanwhile, the Panthers, boy, when they're on, they can be angels.
Inside the nummy. Miller, good call.
All sorts of excitement in New York with the New York Football Giants playing at home in the playoffs for the first time since 2000. They were 8-1 at home this year, but in come playoff and even Super Bowl 2 years ago tested Carolina Panthers. You figured this was a game going to be won in the fourth quarter by two quarterbacks that know how to do it, but sometimes you figure a little bit wrong. Here we go from the Meadowlands as, well, Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks and Harry Koss and 3 linebackers that...
It's quite a linebacking core right there.
They could have used. Eli Manning, his first playoff game, and Thomas Davis in on a blitz. Carolina, when they look good, man, they look as good as anybody, Tom. Why they're one of the preseason favorites.
Yeah, look at the delayed blitz right there. You just wait for the opening on the inside. You go and you crack the quarterback.
That's a 7-yard loss, but then here come the Panthers, and Deshaun Foster on 3rd and 2. He had a huge game running the football. This would be the question. The Giants depleted at linebackers. The Nick, how's it going? On 3rd and 2, cuts back for a first 5 straight third downs converted by Carolina. Then Jake Daylight come, you gotta delo to Steve Smith, 22 yards, and pretty warm in here, but why not? It's January, the snow angel calling all you angels, right? Something like that.
Yeah, take another look at this. Terrell Buckley in press coverage at the line of scrimmage, expecting a little help. The safety goes to the outside, splitting the field. T-Buck does not get a hit on Steve Smith. That's an easy little race to the end zone. pitch and catch by the quarterback wide receiver.
Tiki Barber at 2,200 yards, all told, running and receiving this year, but not today, Tom.
Yeah, look at Tiki Barber. You just see that the lanes are not there. I think that the Carolina Panthers did a great job of flowing down the line of scrimmage. 8 rushes for 28 yards in the first half.
And the Giants needed more than that. Eli needed more help than that. They get a break. Jason Baker actually shanked a punt. It was so short that it hit Jibril Wilson going back to block it. Off the leg, Panthers recover, so he never sees it. It wasn't the greatest punt, but these are the things that happen. So the double fumble for Washington, so the double fumble for New England. These are the things that happen, especially in these games, and everything's magnified. Giants held them to a field goal, 10-0 at the half. Now, can Eli Manning, oh boy, overthrown? Ken Lucas had a huge year. Look at the return by Lucas, whap! And then at the 50, whap! Changes directions again, down to the 12. Panthers in business mid-third. Next play, and you gotta love the call from DeLome and head coach John Fox, offensive coordinator Dan Henning. The reverse to Steve Smith gone. Go for the jugular, catch them on their back feet.
Yeah, you get the Giants thinking about pursuit. You get them over pursuing, you bring the ball back the other way.
So very quickly, 17-0. Giant fans nervous. Hey, what's going on out there? How are you? Then Eli Manning to Jeremy Shaw gets overthrown, picked off by Marlon McCree. And Julius Peppers, boy, to that front wall give Manning and company just a brutal time. Gives Eli a tap. Deshaun Foster does more than that. Look at this run. Get out of here. And then he keeps running and then boom, spins and then 31 yards for Foster at 151 on the day. Hit 27 carries. That leads to a field goal, 20-0. And then Manning just picked off by McCree again for Eli. 3 interceptions, 2 more fumbles by the Giants, so 5 turnovers on this day. And in the tunnel, standing in the shadows of what was not love, is Papa Archie and Tiki Barber. A magical season, but for the Big Blue, who once upon a time had John Fox as defensive coordinator when they went to the Super Bowl in 2000, a shutout, which any defensive coordinator would. This is odd. The last 3 playoff games of the Meadowlands, a Giant game, then a Jet game, and then the 2000 NFC Championship game shutouts. Whatever it is, the Panthers did it today. 23-0. Impressive all the way around.
This is what it's all about. I mean, this is getting on that bus in a little while, getting on the plane in a little while. It's indescribable, especially after, you come together as a team. It's just, you can't beat it. We want to show people that we can play. That's all. We want to get our we want to get our just due, and by doing that is we making plays and winning. You can't miss us if we're on the radar.
We didn't run the ball the way we thought we might be able to run the ball. We didn't have any balance. We didn't make any first downs. We got no rhythm going offensively. We just didn't accomplish a whole lot.
I give a lot of credit to their defense and in the way they played. They played really well, but we didn't play well. We didn't execute. We just couldn't get anything started.
Disappointing that we probably picked the most inopportune time to have probably one of our worst games of the season.
I think in some ways we're out-coached. They had more intensity than we did. They played more consistently than we did, and that's why they won this game.
Well, frustrated Giants.
Yeah,
I think he said later, he said it seemed like they were in our huddle.
Right.
I mean, look, here's a Carolina team that's now 7-2 on the road. They went into a place where a team was 8-1 at home, Tom, and they busted the Giants.
Shut them out.
But a shutout is a shutout. They really had it and pressure at every place that you look, Tom.
We always say the way you want to put pressure on defensively in the NFL is with your front 4. You want to be able to do that and drop 7, and that's exactly what we got from the Carolina Panthers. We're going to take a look at this close up, put our front 4 in the box right there. We're going to have a twist with the interior tackles. You get one of them going inside, the other guy comes around the corner. That's Jordan Karsten. Now take a look at this from a slightly different angle. Tackle to the right, going to come first. Jordan Karsten going to come around. Eli Manning can see this. This is pressure in your face, up the middle by the defensive tackle. He tries to step up to the exit lane. It's not there. He's taken down. Now we're going to have another stunt. Again, the front 4 is going to get this pressure. The stunt is going to come from the down end and the tackle. You get Mike Rucker going inside. Jordan Karsten going to come outside. And even though he doesn't get the sack, does it at a nice angle, gets Eli Manning throwing off of his back foot. Ken Lucas makes the interception. So the key right there is, number one, when you throw with 7 guys back in coverage, you're throwing into a lot of traffic. Never gave Eli Manning a chance to get comfortable today. First time in the playoffs for Eli Manning. It will get better, but today this defense did all those things that we expect of them throughout the year. They just did them better today.
You know, all 4 quarterbacks this weekend making their first playoff start against guys, although Palmer, I mean, that's an asterisk, but still, the fact is, they're 0-4. Doesn't always happen that way, but
that's right. But
experience over inexperience this time. The D-line against Tiki and what you showed on the pressure, the running game of Foster, the play calling, I thought really was outstanding by Henning and company. And hey, look, Carolina was a preseason favorite to go to the Super Bowl. At times you trust them, at times you don't.
I trust
when
them.
They're on it, they look very impressive.
You know, we say that John Fox's team is a character football team. We know that that team's going to come out and play a certain way, and they did today.
And they have to, because they're going to Chicago next, where they already were this year, and it did not go well. Jake Delhomme was sacked 8 times by the Bears. There's Boone, then Agunlie and Brown, and Alex Brown, and Agunlie, and Michael. You're never going to guess what's going to happen here. It's a sack, Tom. 8 sacks, 2 interceptions, and Vasher interception set up an 8-yard touchdown drive that Orton engineered to Muhammad, and the Bears won 13-3. So that's the Sunday game. The Panthers at the Bears in a rematch. Redskins-Seahawks are a rematch as well. The Redskins won that game in overtime in Washington back in Week 4 on a field goal after Seattle hit the upright late in regulation. So we'll talk about these. I mean, in this one, Redskins are going to need a little more than 120 yards in offense.
Redskins are going to have to do better offensively than they did this last weekend. And I would remind you, after watching that extra point, the Chicago Bears do that same kind of man blocking offensively at the line of scrimmage. Look for some of those same stunts from the Carolina Panthers.
Over under the Bears-Panthers game, 9.5. Final 6. When we return, well, you saw what happened. Carson Palmer, the good news, as Mort reported, clean tear. The bad news, what started as a playoff first became a playoff bummer.
Time, presented by Miller Lite.
Steelers beat the Bengals 31-17, but the big story here, Carson Palmer, torn ACL, MCL on his first pass of the game after he's hit by Kimo von Oelhoffen. The Bengals twice led by 10, but Pittsburgh put it away here late in the third quarter. Antoine Randall, lateral to Ben Roethlisberger, over to Cedric Wilson. Steelers win the Bengals after the game. Ron Jaworski was there. Jaws?
Thank you very much, Boomer. The Cincinnati Bengals locker room was disappointed with the loss and very disappointed that they lost their starting quarterback, Carson Palmer. You know, as I walked around the locker room, I ran into Bobby Williams, one of the offensive linemen, and he said how disappointing it was to hear the news after the game. They really knew something was wrong during the game, but not until after the game did they get the full extent of Carson Palmer's injury. But it was clearly a locker room that was depressed not only for the loss, but the future long-term health of Carson Palmer. Boomer?
All right, Jaws, and we hope that next season he can pick up where he left off. Obviously, a lot of rehab. Look, Patriots-Broncos evening Saturday. Steelers at Colts late afternoon on Sunday. This could be big-time games, rematches. New England certainly playing better than when they played Denver the first. Can the Patriots defense in front seven make Jake Plummer look like the old Jake, or the way he's been playing this year? Whoa, Denver, one of 2 undefeated teams at home, Tom.
I think it's a classic matchup when you look at the game in Denver. You've got the 2-time defending world champions going into Denver, and, you know, the Broncos can be very, very tough in Mile High. And then we haven't seen the Indianapolis Colts, you know, play a significantly meaningful game for a month. So, you know, we've all been awaiting that. So it's going to be a physical battle in both places and great games.
A lot of emotion, Tony Dudley. Hey, just one thought on Saturday. Gibbs against Holmgren, Belichick against Shanahan. Those are the 2 Saturday games. 9 Super Bowl championships among those 4 coaches on Saturday. Whoa. When we return, game balls. A lot of guys on the ground. Sean Foster in the bus. A lot of guys in the air like Steve Smith and Big Ben. A lot of heroes on Sunday in the wild card.
Presented by Miller. There's good enough, and there's better than it has to be. Miller. Good call.
Boomer, my game ball goes to Deshaun Foster. You look at the numbers, 27 carries for 151 yards, but it really translated into 42-45 in terms of time of possession. Almost 43 minutes the Carolina Panthers had the ball.
Ben Roethlisberger, he just wins. 3 touchdown passes, no turnovers, as the Steelers win on the road. By the way, in case you forgot, hold on to the football in the playoffs. What were the turnovers here? The 12-1.
Wow.
You're winning and losing in the first round of the playoffs. And now the big boys kick in next week.
Great
Ready
weekend.
for that?
Great weekend.
For Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Aloha.